morning and welcome to the Dailies on Echo Television International, where we look at stories trending on our Nigerian newspaper. Today is the 7th of September 2022. And for those who have been living in jails, you know it's been 20 years when we had the crisis and lots of lives were lost. Over 5 billion naira lost in talking about goods, infrastructure, and lots of things like that. But we thank God for sustaining our lives. And the program is the Dailies. As I said, I'm Sarah Elisha Dasham and Olabi Tose is here with me. Good morning, Tose.
Morning, Sarah.
How you doing?
I'm good.
All right, let's run through the papers we have this morning. We're live also on Facebook and YouTube, so do well to be actively involved in the conversation by dropping your comments. The first paper I'll be taking is The Voice of Liberty, and we have 2023 presidency, 38,000 doctors, health workers, healthcare workers back Peter Obi and promised 25 million votes. You can get that story on The Voice of Liberty. And we have secessionalist agitation, Yoruba set for peaceful exit, Yoruba group writes Buhari. Why INEC may not deliver credible election in 2023. This is coming from Udikalu. And we have an ASU strike. Federal government agrees to increase professor salary by 35% and lecturers 23.5%. Constitute team to review the NIMI Briggs committee report. The federal government, in the aftermath of a special closed-door meeting with pro-chancellors and vice-chancellors of public universities in the country, has agreed to increase professor salaries by 35%. And we hope that this will actually, prompt the ASU to also reduce the rate at which they are having their strike back and forth, which has become an annual event. And I hope that this is not just on paper, but then finally we will get our lecturers to be able to give their best, because we know their welfare is of very, very important, it's of paramount. And where any sector, where the welfare of the workers are not really taken seriously by any government, that is where we see strike coming in back and forth. Yesterday we saw the power sector also planning on strike. Ipman is already having a strike which started Monday till today. So we're hoping that whatever the agitations of these various sectors, it will be met so that we will not have strike coming back and forth always.
Yes, despite the fact that the federal government said on their own part they've settled all ASU need, but ASU is still saying that there are still some issues that are yet to be settled. And just like how the salaries of professors are being increased and even pro-chancellors, we just hope that they look into the other issues aside increment of salary, because we know now on ground is the no work no pay issue, and lecturers are not okay with it. And we've seen where some lecturers have look out for other means of survival. Some people have involved they've engaged themselves in farming activities, some even in businesses. So we just hope that something will be done on resolving this issue. I won't blame ASU totally. I will say the federal government also have their own part to play, because you see the allocation given to the educational sector is very low compared to the allocation even given to school feeding. And we know that the school feeding, not every child benefit from the school feeding.
True.
And even when we look at the food that is being given to those pupils, is of low standard. There's the nutrients that children need to grow is not even gotten in those food that they give to these children. So we just hope that something will be done about this, because the strike have lingered for long, and lecturers are agitating for something, students are also agitating for something, because we can't have a school without infrastructure. We can't have an educational sector that there is no growth. And we keep talking about how children can be involved in practical, students can be involved in practical aspects in school. The theory is not just enough, but practical. And this is where there's the need for labs, there's a need for more infrastructure in those schools. So aside increment of salaries, they should look into all those things. And I'm just hopeful that if they look into all those things, as we will call off the strike, lecturers also want to go back to school, because it is not easy even on their part.
Of course, Tosin. Let's look at other stories still on The Voice of Liberty. Doctors fault health minister for dismissing brain drain. And on oil theft, federal government orders immediate dissolution of the NSCDC anti-vandalism unit nationwide. We are safer in northern Cyprus than in northern Nigeria. Nigerian students replied the federal government. This is really sad coming from Nigerians, because we heard where the Minister of the Diaspora Student, Abire, was talking about the fact that northern Cyprus is very dangerous because lots of Nigerians are being killed. There are situations of them being bullied over there. And here we are seeing that Nigerian students over there are saying they are safer in northern Cyprus than in northern Nigeria. This is really, really, really a very sad story for you, a citizen of a country, to say you prefer to stay outside another shores of another country than to be in your own country. I mean, this is really a sad one, and I think the federal government really need to be proactive and look into how they can make northern Nigeria and even Nigeria as a whole safe, because we know it's not just the northern Nigerians that are going through one issue or the other. All over the nation right now, we're having one case. If we are not having kidnapping, we're having banditry, we're having even insecurity has even got, even on the road safe. Talk about the way the transport sector is very, very poor. So there are a lot of things that need to be addressed, and I hope that with this reply coming from Nigerians living in northern Cyprus, the Nigerian federal government will look into how they can make life very, very okay for Nigerians living in Nigeria.
Yes, and this brings to mind yesterday on our paper we read where a 14-year-old boy was found in an aircraft, and he said he's tired of this country, he just wants to leave by all means. Even although the reply that Nigerians in northern Cyprus said, they said even northern Cyprus is safer than Nigeria in general. It is a slap, because we see where people by all means just want to leave the shore of this country. We recorded where our doctors are living on a daily basis, and the Minister of Health said doctors are living like every day. And I would say, everybody wants to leave, because if you interact with people, they just want to leave by all means. We saw when we had the Ukraine war, when it was really fresh. We saw where Nigerians said they want to they just want to give them their life to the fight, because Ukraine said they need people that will come join them in fighting. And Nigerians, some youths were saying, okay, they want to just give out their self to fight this war for Ukraine. And you see that people don't just believe any longer, even in the country, because what, things are not moving on well for people. People are not finding it easy. Just yesterday I said everyone is having a taste of this burden. Everyone is having a taste of this bad time in this country, and we see that Nigerians in northern Cyprus said they are safe there. So and we also recorded where Nigerians are even being killed in outside country. We had where a Nigerian was killed in Canada. That's why the fact that the country took the case up. But we see that even Nigerians in those places, they are seen as victims. They are seen with like a kind of eye, like this person have come with so many bad attitude, they have come with corruption. They just see Nigerians in those places, and when they see Nigerians, they try to take heed of themselves. They are being cautious of interacting with Nigerians. Nigerians in those countries are not finding it easy, but they're just looking out for a better ground for themselves and their family. And this is what we keep on talking, and how we can make living favorable for people in this country. I'll keep on referring to what we read on the papers concerning the election and what Nigerians want the government to do. Because if life is favorable, Sele, no one will want to leave. But when life is not favorable, and we see that the platform and the environment is conducive, it is welcoming, you can with the work you do, your money, it can be useful to yourself and your family. Who will not want to go there? So we just look out for ways the country, and even the Abike Dabiri, who is the diaspora minister, she should look into all these things and see how life can be favorable for people here. We saw where Peter Obi was granted an interview in Toronto, and what did he say? He said so many things, and even Nigerians in Toronto also spoke about how life can be favorable for their fellow people in this country, because they keep on listening to news, they keep on seeing what is happening. You have loved ones, you make calls with your loved ones, and what they're hearing about how the hardship and the suffering people are going through. It's not favorable and it's not pleasing to them. So the country need to do something about it. If you don't want people to leave the country, then let it be favorable. Have we when have we heard about foreigners coming to stay here because their country is not favorable? We've not heard of it. Even with this war, no one is coming to this country to stay. Then why are we the ones always leaving our country to go? Make life favorable, and we'll even have foreign expatriates that will come and even invest in our country.
Of course, this is really very sad. Well, let's look at other stories. On 2023, Muslim ticket will spell doom for party, APC group tells Buhari. Downside of the paper, we're still having the countdown to the Kaduna train terror attack victims, and they have spent 162 days in captivity. Well, that's all on the Voice of Liberty.
And on the Matrix newspaper, Peter Obi denies receiving $150 million diaspora funding. And again, Adamu, the education minister, says ASU strike causing him anguish and internal turmoil. Champions League roundup, Real Madrid, PSG, Man City win as Chelsea lose to Dinamo. And INEC reveals why comprehensive voters list for 2023 polls is yet to be published. The big story here says why fintech, telecom, real estate topping list of thriving sectors and industries to invest in Africa. If only we can look into all those places and look out for ways we can invest in all the sectors, then we will thrive in our country. And price hike, multi-choice in hot soup risks losing 10% of 2021 profit for contempt of court. Nigeria, Poland signed landmark agreement on agriculture and gas. And we have 2.6 billion naira money laundering case. Court grants Oluomo 300 million naira bail. A picture story here, Queen welcomes new Prime Minister and new government. And also British Queen Elizabeth left welcomes Liz Truss during an audience at Balmoral, Scotland, where she invited the newly elected leaders of the Conservative Party to become the Prime Minister and form a new government. And this picture was taken on Tuesday, where we saw the Queen Elizabeth and also the British Prime Minister. And that's all on the Matrix newspaper.
All right, let's take a look at the New Telegraph newspaper. Federal government relocates 300.3 billion naira Bonny deep sea poured over the NNPCL facility. You can read detail of that on page 3. And we have on LCCI, Nigerian's economy bleeding into stagflation. You can also read that on page 27. Non-payment of debt benefits, federal government threatened to blacklist insurance brokers. And on 2023, Atiku gearing up for campaign. You can read that on page 3 and also page 29. Ghana grants United Nigeria approval for flight to Accra. And Autumn is saying headsmen collaborating with terrorists. You can actually read that too on page 4. The big story, which is on the ASU strike committee of vice chancellors, want 300,000 naira salary for professors. Waits into the federal government and ASU refloat peace building team. ASU rejected professors' 35% pay raise, that is 200 billion naira revitalization fund, earn allowances in 2023 budget. Federal government set up committee on unions demand, and I hope that these committees will bring out something tangible that will be able to work and to be a lasting solution to the strike. You can read more of that on page 4 and also on page 27. On 2023, why we are yet to display voters registrar. This is coming from INEC. And tribunal affirms multi-choice right to raise the prices. That also can be found on page 4. And we have Nigerian doctors abroad underpriced. This is coming from the federal government. Well, I think this should be the doctors telling us if they are underpriced or not, because I do not know if Nigeria is actually getting any revenue from the foreign doctors that are living outside the shores of Nigerians. But then when the Nigerian government have refused to prioritize the welfare of their doctors, definitely the doctors will prefer to stay outside the shores of Nigeria. And not just the doctors, but even every Nigerian is just looking for a way, just like you said, to leave the shores of Nigeria. So we hope that the Nigerian government will look into what they can do to make sure that life is very, very meaningful for its citizens. IPOP set to arrest, prosecute criminals in the southeast. That also can be found on page 2. An alleged 4.1 billion naira fraud, court grant 300 million naira bill, remands Ogun speaker and others in EFCC custody. That also can be found on page 2. On 2023 Northern Presidency declaration of war against Southerners. This is coming from Pandev. Vows to mobilize Nigerians of goodwill and clear conscience. You can find that on page 5. We have a study that says pills to boost memory, brain functions not beneficial. Well, you can look up that study too on page 8 of the New Telegraph newspaper. That's all on the New Telegraph.
On the Nation newspaper, Nigeria gets 23 slots as Google lifts 60 African startup with $4 million. Tinubu donates 50 million naira to Jigawa flood victims, and Ogun speaker, 2 others arraigned over 2.4 billion naira fraud. Nigeria, Poland signed pact on agriculture, and I get 100,000 naira for every 500 ammunition I take to bandit. And this is coming from the terrorist kingpin that was apprehended, who had a connection with the Tegina attack in Niger State, and a 30-year-old man allegedly connected to the deadly attack by terrorists in Tegina town of Niger State months ago have been arrested, and now he's saying he gets 100,000 for every 500 ammunition that he takes to this bandit. And we just hope that the right authority and the right judgment will be passed on him. Buhari greets the UK Prime Minister. The picture story here, we can see the national chairman of the All Progressive Congress and also the aspirants of the presidential aspirant of the APC. We can see the governor of Plateau State and also the governor of Jigawa State. We can all see them together in a meeting, and we just hope it is on ways the country can be moved forward. The big story on ASU is saying government raises 14-man panel to resolve knotty issues, as 23.5% pay rise for teachers is likely. And return to classroom, Bishop urges teachers. On the PDP campaign team, Atiku may shun Wike. The rider says Tambuwal Ugwanyi Oyilola tipped as DG, and detractors after my life, says River State Governor. PDP governorship candidate in Port Harcourt, leave us out of your mess. APC warns IU. 103 billion naira paid to oil marketers at bridging claims in 9 months, says NMDPRA. Downside of the Nation, we have courts restrained Osun PDP from expelling Babayemi and lawyers jailed for 5 years. That's all on the Nation newspaper.
On the Punch newspaper, first scarcity hits Abuja as marketers short stations. You can read that on page 25. And we saw that on our paper from Monday when IPMA said they'll be going on a 3-day warning strike because of their demands that are yet to be met by the federal government. We hope that that will be addressed before the end of today, so that we'll be able to have fuel in circulation, not just in Abuja, but other northern states that have been affected by the strike. Still on the Punch newspaper, insecurity, forex crisis, cut capital inflow by 23%. And federal government proposes 200 billion naira, 23.5% raise for varsities. INEC deleting double registrars for voter register. This is coming from Mahmood. And we have PDP neck divided over call for IU's removal. You can read that story on page 30 of the Punch newspaper. The big story on Punch says anti-drug war. Federal government freezes 600 accounts and seizes 249 luxury vehicles. Right following that say NDLEA confiscate $1.3 million, 102,000 euro, and CFA 14 million. We have 252 million naira drug proceeds. Court orders interim forfeiture of billionaire Yukatu 25 property and factory. Don't buy drugs for youth. Agency warned politicians ahead of campaigns. You can read all of the drug law war on page 2. Nigeria Poland plan closer tied and ink agric deal. You can read up that story on page 28. And we have Fayosha believes I will be uncontrollable as governor. This is coming from the ex-AG Ajayi. Governor won't interfere in Ogun Speaker's case. This is coming from the commissioner. And federal government grows VAT by 20%, ranks in 1.2 trillion naira. And we have some few picture stories on the front page of the Punch, so you can look up the Punch and read any story that is of interest to you. But before we move further, right at this moment, I would like us to take a break where we can open the phone lines and also continue to look at some of the stories that are screaming on our papers. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break.
Echo TV International, a lifestyle Christian television station, driving a mandate of reaching the world with the gospel of Christ through an all-inclusive approach in our content generation, production, and broadcasting of same. Enjoy Christian movies and drama, live events, talk shows and interviews, reality TV, kiddies shows, music videos, documentaries, relationships, family, arts and entertainment, politics, government, current affairs, business and finance, sermons, youth and teens, health, women, and more. Only on Echo Television International. Echo Television International is live 24/7, preaching the message of salvation and truth to the world. Pray for Echo TV. Support Echo TV. Be part of Echo TV. Keep watching Echo Television International, the winning station. Echo TV Africa keeps you lifted 24/7. fixes your day and makes it fulfilled with messages of hope and salvation.
Sin and the devil, they always work hand in hand together.
Christ too and the ministry of the Lord also will be promoted.
This aspect of David's experience we read in our passage of consideration brings this situation very near to ours.
He is majestic in holiness. Praise the Lord.
Groundbreaking shows for every life situation.
Our parents don't tell lies because that's always a problem.
But in the north, we have abandoned education.
If you ask me to do anything for Nigeria, please equip me.
It feels great being on never-ending platform.
Heaven gifted songs to lift your spirit up, pull you out of worry, fear, sadness, and even depression. Keep watching Equa TV Africa. Follow us on all our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the notification button to keep up with our activities.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, the program is The Dailies on Equa Television International. We've been reviewing stories on our Nigerian newspaper, what the federal government said about increasing professors' salary to 35%. So we'd like you to call us and let us know, what do you feel about this comment, and also about the Muslim ticket? What are your takes about all of the stories that have been on our papers? Our phone lines are displayed on your screen. So do well to call us and let us hear what you feel about it. I'm still with my co-host, Owelabi Tosin. Thank you so much, Tosin. Yes, let's move further to other papers.
Okay, I'll take the Blueprint newspaper. PDP, Atiku turnover Tambuwal Uyilola Ugwanyi as campaign head, as the ex-vice president disowned diaspora group seeking to raise fund. The big story on ASU strike, federal government moves to end logjam, sets up 14-man review committee, and offers 23.5% salary increase to lecturers, 35% to professors. Provides 150 billion naira in 2023 budget for varsity revitalizations, and VCs weighed in, says we can't watch our house collapse. Details can be found in page 6 of the Blueprint newspaper. Buhari congratulates new British Prime Minister Truss, and 2023 robots constitute 80% of Tinubu, Obi, Atiku's social media followers. This is from CGID. 2.4 billion naira fraud. EFCC docks Ogun Assembly Speaker Oluomo and 2 others. Police arrest ritualists with human parts in Ondo, and SEC ran as deficit in 2020 and 2021. This is from Yuguda. Bello launches free health care for Kogi indigents, releases takeoff fund, and container shipping profits hits $63.7 billion in second quarter. This is a report. Federal government inaugurates TWGs to resuscitate ailing enterprises, and that's all on the Blueprint newspaper.
On this day newspaper, we have stood this coming from INEC, comprehensive list of registered voters out soon. You can look up that story on page 42. And we have federal government may rework the MTEF over suspension of 5% telecommunication tax. The writer following that says Nigeria may end up unwillingly with the IMF if it fails to address fiscal challenges in sensible and sustainable manner. Hints at hike in banks' contribution in the AMCON. Insists government not bloated, only needs rebalancing. You can read up that story on page 40. Polish President Duda in historic visit woes Nigerian investors. The writer explained why Poland is against Russian invasion of Ukraine. Buhari hails government for hosting Nigerians that flee from the war. You can read up that story too on page 40. And the ASU strike, which is on most of our papers, federal government will not sign agreement it cannot implement, says minister. The government retaliates offer to include the 200 billion naira in the 2023 budget for varsities, revitalization, and outstanding arrears. says it can only afford 23.5% salary increase. And then we have professional career to get 35% upward review. Constitute team to review the BRICS committee recommendations. VCs recommend 800,000 naira salary for professors. We have the picture story here where we can see President Muhammadu Buhari receiving the Polish president during a visit to the presidential villa in Abuja yesterday. And that's all on this day newspaper.
Nigerian Tribune, Atiku to meet ex-PDP presidential aspirant as former vice president, ex-reps principal officers hold parley. PDP bigwigs aided Buhari's re-election. This is from Nyesom Wiki. Meets with PDP Guba candidates in Port Harcourt. 31% of Nigerians still can't read and write. This is coming from the federal government. And I will say, what are they doing concerning this? We have the educational sectors. We have from the nursery down to the tertiary institution. Then what are the teachers doing to ensure that the students know how to read, the pupils know how to read? And I know the foundation classes, which are the nursery classes. What are they doing to ensure that these children know how to read and write? Because it is a slap on our face to say from the Minister of Education saying 31% of Nigerians still can't read or write. No wonder in some states we see where they have to sack relief teachers of their duties and bring up new teachers. We recorded yesterday in Zamfara State where the governor have to appoint new teachers, and even he take new teachers because of the record they are having, where teachers in the educational sector in the state are not capable of doing what they are supposed to do. So we just hope that something will be done in the educational sector, because we need to take it very important. This is a slap on our face coming from with this record, and also with the record from UNESCO saying over 20,000 children are out of school even in the same country. So we need to do something about it, so people can understand and even believe in the education and know the importance of education.
Yeah, to permit me to add up, when you were mentioning about what are the school teachers doing, we also have to look at what is the federal government doing to make sure that we still have students back in the classroom. We have records of states, especially in the northeast and the northwest, where schools have been shut down. Take a look at a place like Yobe. Take a look at places like Zamfara. We still have recording where insecurity have made life very unbearable, that students can no longer go back to school. No wonder, just like you said, UNESCO mentioned that Nigeria, we have about 20.2 million, out of school children, and we are the second highest in the whole of the world, from India, Nigeria. Then we have Pakistan. Pakistan is even behind Nigeria. So you see that lots have to be done when talking about the educational sector. We keep mentioning that education is the bedrock of any society, but when security is already standing as a danger, or it's already standing as a barrier where they have to go through training to know what that is expected of them, and also security has to be there in place so that the students can be free to go to school, because it's not magic that other nations can even afford free education. We have all it takes, but all we need to do is to go back to the drawing board and see what can we do to make sure that things are working out properly.
Thank you very much. Still on the Nigerian Tribune, Nigeria positioning to be major gas suppliers to Europe. This is from Silva. And the governor of Kwara State saying we've made significant impact across Kwara. Federal government can only afford 35% increments for professors and 23.5% for others. This is coming from the salary increase without collective bargaining is unacceptable. This is from Uni Abuja ASU. Gunshot as hoodlums clash in Lagos, and Lautech graduate return certificate demand fees return. Customs sees 33.3 multi-choice over DSTV GoTV price hike. Details can be found in page 5, and that's all on the night.
Post campaign cancel with detail found inside the Daily Trust newspaper. We have over 2 million SMEs collapsed in 2 years. This is coming from SMEDAN. Customs sees explosive making camp chancellors. The federal government offers professors 35% pay raise and other varsities workers 23.5%. to release 200 billion naira. Keep your salary increment, implement our agreement. This is coming from ASU, and Buhari have warned government officials against signing unimplementable pact again. You can look up that story on page 4, EPRA, where we don't know what the issue is, if they have gone on strike, if you truly pay this money. I just hope they will come to an agreement on whatever the issue is. Still on Daily Trust newspaper, over 200,000 Nigerian doctors left for Europe and Saudi Arabia and Canada in 6 months. Gunmen kill Islamic cleric in Eboyi. Mori call for justice. We can see where the new Prime Minister of British Truss assumes office. Her reign will strengthen relations with Nigeria. Any of the story that's of interest to you?
On the first newspaper, ASU strike, we've give up. This is coming from the federal government. Says we've done all we can to no avail. ASU rejected 23.5% salary increase offer. Federal government considering review of no work, no pay policy. This is coming from the Minister of Education. Robbers raid UBA Zenith, first bank branches in Kogi State. Reactions as Peter Obi foreign supporters begs for $10,000. And PDP crisis, Wike goes from broke, alleges threat to life, says those plotting to kill him will die first. I won't go to Abuja to kneel down to beg anybody, and nobody can buy me. I don't want any federal appointment. This is still coming from the Rivers State governor. Accuses PDP bigwigs of negotiating with and helping Buhari to win 2019 election. On the Muslim ticket, Shetima must withdraw APC youth insist. Say same faith ticket is a suicide mission. Labour Party kicks over attack on party stalwarts in Enugu, demands probe, urges PDP to prove it's not culpable. And on 2023, coming from Peter Obi saying God punish his children if he steal public funds. APC lambast Ayu for insulting Wiki and destroying PDP, and what may affect Atiku Obi Tinubu's chances for the 2023 election. And still on that, we have Atiku Tinubu spokesman trade words. Keyamo once sued Tinubu for certificate forgery. Boala alleges it's not true. I only sued Lagos Assembly. And this is coming from Keyamo and Boala. We will soon publish comprehensive list of registered voters from INEC and assures IDPs of exercising their voting rights. And this is really good because they are Nigerians and they need to exercise their franchise. Alleged 2.475 billion naira fraud. Ogun Speaker gets 300 million naira bail. And 2023, only Nigerians with passion for suffering will vote APC. This is coming from an ex-minister. And on 20 vote. And that's all on the first newspaper.
All right, let's take a look at the world of business from National Economy. And we have why Nigerians' foreign exchange crisis will linger. Government paying lip service to economic devitalization as manufacturing, agriculture, aviation, and other sectors remain in limbo. This is coming from economics. And we can see we have the chart here where you can look at the currency, how you can buy, the sell, the inflation rate of 2022, 2021, and also commodity prices. So you can take a look at the US dollar, the pounds, the euro, and CBN exchange rate as of 2nd of September 2022. Downside of the same paper, we have is SEC winning battle against pawn scheme? This is a question, and you can look up that question and also the answer to that on P. Hello, Gabriel, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Gabriel. Please go on. Good morning.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go on.
Gabriel, if you can hear us, please end the call and call us back again. We truly appreciate that. Still on national economy, we have reforming shipping laws can revive indigenous shipping. You can look up that on page 22. Why Dubai is investment hub for Nigerians. You can look up that too on page 18. Well, right at this moment, let me round up the last story here. How inflation affects your saving. You can look up that on page 15 of the national economy. Well, we're still on still on the dailies. We'll take a break. Remember, we're still live on Facebook and you can also call us. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back. It's still the Dailies on Echo Television International. We've been reviewing lots of stories. Please remember we're live on Facebook and YouTube. You can drop your comment and also you can call us. Our numbers are displayed on your screen. So call us, let us hear what your views are concerning the 35% increment for professors, 23.6% for lecturers and other workers, and also, okay, we have another caller. Hello, Ms. Gero. Good morning.
Yeah, Echo Television, sir.
Yes, sir. Please go on with your comments. Hello, Megero, can you hear me? Go on, please.
I want to also comment on the topic.
Okay, go on. Turn down the volume of your TV set so that you can actually hear me properly, please. Okay, please, Miguel, if you can call us back, we really appreciate it. And also our earlier caller that called us earlier, if you can call us concerning any of the story that's of interest to you. Let's move further to other paper here. Let's take a look at the Business Day newspaper. And we have 1 day to the kickoff of the campaign ahead of the 2023 presidential election. All appears not well with Nigerians. Two dominant political parties, the ruling All Progressive Congress and the People's Democratic Party, as well as the African Democratic Congress. Well, you can look up that story on page 2 of the Business Day newspaper. Multiverse mayors, Weimar and others suppress 100% return in 8 months. You can look up that story on page 30. And we have an analyst here that says petrol to sell above 400 naira litre even with Dangote and NNPC refineries. Well, look up that too on page 31. Okay, we have another caller from Zaria. Good morning. George, please go on. We can hear you.
Yeah, good morning, ma'am.
Morning.
Okay, please, my own contribution is based on the ASU and the federal government negotiation.
George, please go on.
So, I don't really know what really ASU needs. But, and again, we are complaining that almost 20% of people in Nigeria don't really know how to read and write. And all our universities have been closed. I don't really know what really ASU really need. I know they're really fighting and standing for we the masses. But at least they need to so much consider the youth. Because breast, I should use the word, their breast, there's so much need to consider. If possible, they should really adhere to what government is giving them now so that the students might come back. Imagine now, look at the brain drain that is going on in the nation. Thousands of people are leaving the country and we are still complaining that the nation is not developing. So it's really a cry that the ASU and the federal government need to so much meet. The both of them need to swallow up their pride. Permit me to use the word. The both of them need to swallow up their pride so that the masses can still come back to the varsity. That is just all what I just
All right,
need
thank
to
you so
say.
much, George, for that contribution. Still on Business Day newspaper, we have petrol to sell above 400 naira litre, even with Dangote and NNPC refineries. With detail found on page 31 of Business Day newspaper. How Nigerian employers are retaining talent amid the great registration. Okay, I take that story again. How Nigerian employers are retaining talent amid great resignation. You can read up that on page 31 of the Business Day newspaper. The big story here says Nigerian firm face fresh cost of doing business crisis. Stephen from Makodi, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. How is the morning? I want to tell you that the federal government, state and local government have lost their sight. Not even supposed to.
Stephen, can you be audible, please?
The Prime Minister resigned voluntarily, and the later for not an election will be sworn in. If it were to be Nigeria, it would have been war. Let them leave office. They are borrowing. It will cause problem for this coming government next year. I know God will give us a good leader, and as soon as He gives us a good leader, many countries will forgive us our debt, and this government bring Nigeria to the lesser range that they have made before. So God bless us. Thank you, God.
Okay, thank you so much, Stephen, for that contribution. And we have other smaller stories still on the Business Day newspaper, so you can do well to get the Business Day newspaper and read any of the stories that's of interest to you.
Thank you, Sally. On the TBS, that's the Business Standard newspaper, we have India willing to export fuel, start trade deal talk. And blackout hits 25 districts unannounced. Coal terminal proposed amid promises to phase out dirty energy.
Okay, sorry, Tosi. Okay. We have Ladi from Zaria. Good morning, Ladi.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, Ladi. Please go on with your
I'm
contribution.
very happy with this discussion. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Turn down the volume of your TV set so you can hear me.
The government cannot sign what it cannot approve.
Okay.
Is it trying to say he's blocking any other complaint? If the government want to make it a bill, then it should fulfill the ones that is on ground and then make a new move. But in the time of this crisis, saying that it cannot sign what it cannot, is it trying to say that are we not going to grow, or what is it? You can't have a country where you make people to close their mouth without complaining or coming out, say out their grievances. We can never grow if no grievances are addressed. I think the president should rethink. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Ladi, for that contribution. Please, Tosi, let's go on.
Yes, the last story on the TBS, we have Bangladesh, our largest development partner, and also there are all the key sectors where Bangladesh have developed and also invested in that is leading to development, and now they are recognized as the highest development partners to other countries. I just hope that we look into those places and develop our country also. That's all on the TBS.
All right, let's take a look at the world of sport from Sporting Life newspaper. We have holders show class. You can add on inside the Sporting Life newspaper. We have Lewis Barker contract contains 431 million euro release clause. That can be found on page 4 of the Sporting Life newspaper. 2.5 billion euro front from Chelsea, sales sitting. Okay, hello, we have a caller from Benue. Good morning.
Hello?
We can hear you. Please go on.
Hello?
Okay, I think I have to cut you short. Please end the call and call us back again. Still on Sporting Life newspaper, Baka unveils Onluso Berryland, and we have Bendy reject new Chelsea contract. We have Oshime still wants to play, and we have other very enticing stories on the front page of the Sporting Life newspaper. So you can do well to grab the Sporting Life and read any of the sports news that is of interest to you.
On the Point newspaper, federal government hints on new salary structure for varsity workers as 23.5% increment for lecturers, 35% for professors, set up 14-man committee on grey areas. Disquiet in Wema Bank as MD gets retirement notice. Details can be found in page 2, and also how FIFA World Cup stalled Buhari's visit to Qatar. Ogun PDP not factionalized will respect court verdict. This is from Shegun Shoni. And Wike alleges threat to life, tells supporters not to panic. That's all on the Point newspaper.
Okay, I think let's take this last call and we end the show for today. Hello, Gabriel. Good morning. Hello, Gabriel. Are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go on. You have
Hello,
just 20 seconds.
Hello?
I can hear you, Gabriel. Please go on.
All right, good morning.
Morning. Go on, please. Okay, Gabriel, I think I have to end the call here. Thank you so much to all our callers, and thank you to those who dropped their comment on Facebook. Thank you so much, Tosi, for doing this with me.
Thank you, Salam.
Remember that God is love, so show love to someone out there today. Have a blessed day.